Good morning and welcome to our UBC Learning Circle, Empowering Indigenous Youth, Integrating Culture and STEM at UBC Summer Camp. Today's conversation is presented in partnership with Center for Excellence in Indigenous Health, and we'd like to thank the First Nations Health Authority for generously funding the UBC Learning Circle and allowing us to have these conversations. Before we formally begin, I'd like to acknowledge with respect and gratitude that I'm joining you from the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Please feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat box. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Serene Squawkin. I am the Learning Circle Manager. I am Syilx Okanagan on my mother's side and Hickory Apache and Belgian Settler on my father's side. Um, I will be the moderator for today's discussion, and working behind the scenes is Cynthia and Kira. They'll be assisting everyone in the chat box. And finally, before we get into today's discussion, I'll provide a gentle heads up that the topics covered may be sensitive or emotionally triggering. So please look after yourself, and if at any point in time you need to talk to an elder, friend, counselor, or family member, don't hesitate to do so. Now I'll turn it over to our guests to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, my name is Ella. I am a member of the Tsimshian Nation located in northern BC. I grew up on the traditional unceded territory of the Squamish Nation in Squamish, BC. I am in my third year of my undergrad, doing a Bachelor of Science with a major in math. I worked with Summer Science last year as a program assistant, where I supported the planning of Summer Science. And I'm really passionate about increasing Indigenous representation in STEM-related fields and supporting Indigenous youth in exploring their post-secondary pathways. I'll pass it on to Georgia.
And I'm Georgia. Hello. I was the camp manager in 2025, and the year before that, I also worked as a program assistant. So this is my third year with Summer Science, and I am so glad to be back again this summer. I was born and raised on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Kwantlen First Nation, what is now known as Langley, BC. I have mixed European settler ancestry, and I'm currently studying kinesiology at UBC. I hope to continue working with youth in the future after I graduate in community-based settings, because I feel really passionate about creating safe spaces that enrich learning experiences for Indigenous youth by fostering an environment that is welcoming and exciting.
Okay, so I'd just like to welcome everyone again to our Learning Circle webinar. We are from UBC Summer Science, a culture and science summer camp open to Indigenous youth currently in grades 8 through 11. We are so excited to share some details about our camp with you, and we will have lots of time to answer any questions at the end. I'd like to move on to a land acknowledgement. We want to acknowledge that this learning circle is taking place on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Hunkaminam speaking Musqueam peoples on the UBC Vancouver campus, who have been stewards of this land since time immemorial. And we have already introduced ourselves or had the opportunity to introduce ourselves. So we'll move on to the next slide, which is what is UBC Summer Science? So we are a week-long summer camp that takes place in August. Our goal is to inspire youth to explore whatever it is that they feel passionate about and support them on their journey of cultural connection and reconnection. We integrate a whole lot of fun and learning. Oh, sorry. I just realized this is Georgia's slide.
That's okay, you're doing great.
Oh my
Continue,
goodness.
Ella. You're good.
Okay. A whole lot of learning and fun experiences in program planning, including many cultural and science and health workshops and recreation activities that foster relationship building for students and staff. And I'll pass it on to Georgia.
So Summer Science is Indigenous led, and we are pretty much entirely student run, which is also really cool. So of course, Ella and I are UBC students, and most of our staff are UBC students, but we can also hire camp staff from community. And as for the session, Summer Science is split into two sessions. So it runs for 2 weeks. but camp is 1 week long for each cohort. The first group in week 1 is reserved for students that are currently in grades 10 and 11, and it runs from August 2nd to 8th. So students arrive on Sunday afternoon and they either depart after our graduation celebration on Friday or Saturday, usually before 12 noon. And then the second week is from August 9th to 15th and is for students that are currently in grades 8 and 9. And I'll let Ella present on the next slide about where camp is located.
So the program is situated on the traditional Musqueam territory, with most of the programming taking place in the First Nations House of Learning on the UBC campus. This programming is organized in a workshop style with both cultural and science-based workshops. We also have camp elders who share teachings in workshops and support our students throughout camp. Overall, we aim to give the students the opportunity to explore campus, learn more about university, make friends, and connect with Indigenous mentors. We host the majority of our programming in the Stuyvesant in the Great Hall of the Longhouse in the First Nations House of Learning. Now, Stuyvesant is the Hunkaminam or Musqueam term meaning spirit of the west wind. It is a very open and bright space that provides our camp's home base where workshops take place, indoor and outdoor recreation time, our health and wellness activities, meals, talking circles, and more. Throughout the year, the Longhouse is a supportive space for Indigenous post-secondary students to access. So we also like to give our summer science or potentially UBC students the opportunity to utilize, familiarize, and enjoy the space that they would have access to at UBC. And now here on the next slide is a photo of our group from 2025. This is our group from week 2, so the grades, or the people who are going into grades 9 and 10. Yeah, it was a great group. And so next we're moving on to living on UBC campus. So summer science staff and students stay in UBC dorms. There is a single bed, a desk, a dresser, as well as a closet inside of the rooms. We recommend bringing a small table fan if you are able, because it does get kind of hot in the rooms, but we do have extra if students need them. Sheets and a blanket are also provided by the dorms, but bringing an extra blanket and pillow is recommended. There's also a huge courtyard right outside the dorm too. We play lots of recreation games here, like capture the flag and tag. And last year, volleyball was really popular and we had lots of fun playing volleyball. And now I'll pass it on to Georgia.
Thank you, Ella. So summer science is amazing because of all of the opportunities it presents. Students have the opportunity to connect with our camp elders, Auntie Rosie, who is a member of Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and Elder Bruce, who is a member of the Métis Nation of British Columbia. As Ella mentioned, we do have talking circles in the afternoons, and the elders are there for spiritual and emotional guidance for the student campers, but also for the staff that join us for the 2 weeks. And we also have lots of facilitators that come visit Summer Science in the Longhouse to run workshops. And many of our facilitators are Indigenous leaders in their fields. So students have the opportunity to connect with facilitators and learn more about programs that are available at UBC Vancouver, and also fields of study and fields of occupation that they can pursue in the future. And for the next slide, students have the opportunity to learn more about campus life. So, for example, living in dorms helps campers learn more about what it's like to live in a first-year dorm if they're traveling from outside of the Lower Mainland. And participating in a UBC tour, which was really fun last year, and so many of the students played basketball for over an hour. So that was a highlight last year. And the UBC tour helps them get to know campus a little bit more and see lots of the different faculty buildings and recreation facilities that are on campus. Some of our workshops also focus on land-based learning, which Ella will speak to shortly, and integrate Indigenous ways of knowing and being into programming. And each year, students reflect back on their time at camp and share how the friendships that they made during their time at Summer Science had a lasting impact on their time in the program. We are also so lucky to work with an amazing team. In our next slide, a fun fact about our camp staff, as I actually already did mention, is that we are entirely student-led. So Ella is studying mathematics and I am a kinesiology student. So there's also that opportunity for students to learn from us too. And being a young adult team, there's lots of opportunity for building connection, fostering relationships with the staff that work with Summer Science as well. Last year, some of our camp staff and volunteers were in engineering programs, marine biology, media and film, education, and so much more. Youth have the opportunity to learn from camp leaders about the many programs available at UBC, and we prioritize hiring Indigenous young adults from diverse communities across Turtle Island because we understand the importance of building those connections and having role models at camp. Camp staff work in pairs to lead a group of campers, of 7 to 9 campers, which supports the youth in fostering lifelong friendships in smaller groups and get to know their team leads. Camp staff also stay in dorms to support with camper supervision, and for staff that may be traveling from farther away, all accommodations and meals are provided while they're here, so they don't have to pay to stay in the dorm room. We provide that for all of our camp staff. A highlight on our next slide is our Friday night graduation. Students are invited to ask their family members to celebrate their achievements from the week with them and share a meal together. And we get Bannock tacos catered for Friday night. At the end of the evening, we fire up the karaoke machine and we have a dance party to celebrate the amazing week that we all had. Students and their families and camp staff are also welcome to wear their traditional regalia. On our next slide, we have an example of our schedule, which I think may be just a little bit blurry. I apologize for that. But in the orange are 2 of our cultural workshops. So we invite a member of the Musqueam Nation to share Musqueam cultural teachings. Last year, we had a drum circle, which was really cool for the students, and it was a highlight for them. And then we also did a Métis jigging workshop last year. And one of our staff, Tia, who has been working with the program for 6 years, is Métis herself and will be leading the Métis jigging workshop. In green are 2 of our science workshops. Gearing Up is an engineering workshop, and the stem cell workshop is the other one, where the campers get to make stem cells in little test tubes. Super cool. We also have the career fair in that beige yellow color, which is 2 hours long, and we invite lots of faculty from different programs across UBC to come and have a booth to share more information about different programs. And then at 4 p.m. we have our talking circles with our elders, and we also integrate lots of breaks and recreation time. The recreation time is that 1 hour block in the pinky purple color. And then we share dinner together in the Longhouse. We have 2 land and food coordinating staff as our camp staff that also lead the group of 7 to 9 campers, and they also prepare dinners at in the afternoons, and we share dinner together from around 5 to 6:30. And we have dinner in the Longhouse as well, which is a really special place for all of the students. Yeah, and I'll pass it back to Ella.
So now we are moving on to talking about what type of cultural workshops on the next slide. We host a variety of cultural workshops throughout our camps, and we want to emphasize that at Summer Science, we believe that culture has a very important place in our daily lives and in our professional and academic lives, which we try to intertwine with our science-based aspects of the program. In the past, very popular workshops with students included drum making, hosted by an Indigenous community member, Uncle Wendell, medicine bag crafting with our camp elders, along with Métis jigging. As well, one of our favorite excursions we partake in is a visit to the Witsitsum garden under the UBC farm. Witsitsum, the Hunkaminam word, means the place where we grow, is a space focused on indigenous food sovereignty, food security, and traditional plant knowledge, and offers us the opportunity to learn while being out on the land, which is really special. Lastly, every evening, our elders host talking circles, which Georgia previously mentioned, which includes a teaching within them and gives students the space to talk about their day or thoughts that they would like to share and listen to their peers. Now, moving on to the science. Now moving on to our STEM focused workshops, we try to host a wide variety of scientific interests and fields in our program. So every student gets the opportunity to both enjoy and learn more about something that they love and also explore a new area of study that they might not have considered or been exposed to. In the past, we have had workshops in a neuroscience lab and with an organization called STEM Stell Network, which are more life-based sciences, and they give tours of labs and the ability to have hands-on experiential learning with lab techniques. And we have had many students interested in science coming into camp, so we host a workshop with medicine that includes a very fun virtual reality experience with the human anatomy learning. We also, for many years, have included a bridge making workshop, which we have a photo of on the next slide, teaching about engineering concepts with a friendly competition built into it. If you attended Gathering Our Voices, we hosted a kind of bridge building experience, and this is a photo of Tia at our workshop. And lastly, another great offering that I love is our yearly career fair. We not only strive to include Indigenous facilitators and faculty within all of our workshops to provide their perspectives in their respective fields, but we also have a specific career fair that brings STEM faculties and departments and their Indigenous student advisors to give students the opportunity to see what programs are offered at UBC and what admissions, a degree plan, and a career could also look like for them as Indigenous students. The career fair is a really great opportunity to learn more about a program that you wouldn't think that you'd actually be interested in. And now moving on to some frequently asked questions. So the first question is, how do I get there and where do we stay? So as Georgia previously mentioned, it is an overnight program where students stay in the same dorm as the first year students would stay in, specifically Class Venier. In terms of getting to and from campus, this will depend on where you're originating from. Every year we have students who are dropped off and picked up by car, or we have students who are picked up / dropped off by staff to and from the ferry terminal or airports and brought to campus by staff. So really it will vary from person to person. Now, this leads me into my next question here about costs. Now, for the entire week, we have a program fee of $200, which includes all meals, accommodations, workshops, etc. But it does not include travel, which is typically left up to the individual student and their families. However, our team feels it is very important to reduce access barriers to this program, and we do not want cost to be a barrier for attendance. So we do have bursaries available for both program fee and travel. The supplemental application for this is included in the application and can be filled out optionally if needed or not. So how can we apply for camp? We have multiple routes to currently apply. The first is an online application through Qualtrics, which is structured like a large survey, which asks some related personal information as well as some questions about why you'd like to attend summer science. Another way you can apply is by downloading a copy of the application and either emailing it to us at summer.science@ubc.ca, or you can mail us the physical copy. These options are all accessible on our website that has a QR code ready to be scanned in the corner. we can leave this up for a moment. So if anybody would like to scan the QR code, you have the opportunity to. And I believe we'll also be sharing the link afterwards. So if you happen to miss it, it's no worries at all. So we can move on to the next slide, which is about the reference letter portion. So we encourage youth that apply to ask a trusted adult to write their reference letter. For example, this can be an Indigenous support worker at your school, a teacher or coach, or a mentor or a leader from your community. We recommend asking for approximately half of a page describing your interest in school, your connection to community, how summer science will support you in your cultural connection and reconnection journey, and what you decide to pursue in the future, whether that be post-secondary or something completely different. Our job is to support you and your passions and inspire you to pursue whatever that may be. And I'll pass it on to Georgia.
So we are nearing the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening so far. We would love to hear from you. Do you have any ideas for a workshop that you would love to see this year? Do you have any recreation activities or games in mind that we should bring to camp? Or do you have any meals that you would like to see our land and food coordinators prepare in the afternoons when we share dinner together? We invite you to enter into the chat any ideas that come to mind as they help us plan and prepare as a team before camp starts in August. On our next slide, I also have an exciting announcement. We are hiring, so we hire 8 camp staff and between 12 to 15 volunteers each year. And we can hire camp staff, as I mentioned, from community, so they don't need to be current UBC students. And so there's a QR code in the bottom right corner there. We'll leave this page up for a moment if you know any young adults that might be interested in being camp staff. And again, the accommodations and meals are all provided during the 2 weeks. So it's contract work from August 1st to 15th. And a resume and cover letter are due on April 25th. And myself and Auntie Rosie and our embedded licensed counselor, Lara, will be inviting applicants to attend interviews in the first week of May. Yeah, and in the QR code, the job descriptions are viewable on our careers page. So we will play the video from 2024. Thank you so much, Cynthia. We can move on to the next slide. If you would like to email us for a copy of the Word document application, we can definitely send that to you, or to be added to our mailing list for more updates. We also have a program postcard, which is like a 8 by 11 sheet of paper that you could print off and put in your school offices and your community centers if you can think of any youth that may want to learn more about summer science. So please email us anytime. We would love to hear from you. On our next slide, we are now ready to take questions. I also wrote down some of the amazing suggestions that were in the chat for workshop ideas and things to bring to camp. So I'm going to read out a couple of them. But if you have any questions, please type them into the Q&A function, and Ella and I will be happy to answer them. One of the suggestions in the chat was medicine identification. And at the Witsi Gardens, we are very lucky to, in past years, we've done a sacred fire, and we've learned about the traditional medicines, and the students have been gifted a prayer tie with medicine in it. So that is really special. Stick games. So last year, a couple of the students brought stick games to camp, and they played late into the evening, right until lights out at 10 p.m. So that was also really fun to see. We also do lots of singing too. There's some walking to and from workshops, so the students are always singing together, or singing in the longhouse while there's like breaks between workshops. I also really love the idea of a talent night. I think that's a great idea. And we have some quiet time before lights out at 10 from about 7:30 to 10. And this year we're going to incorporate a movie night. So maybe another one of those evenings we will do a talent show, because I feel like that would be so much fun.
So amazing. Thank you, Georgia and Ella. I know we always get such great feedback from the youth who participate in the summer science camp. And we have so many questions here.
Yay.
Um, sorry. The first one is, are students allowed to have their phones with them at the camp?
Yeah, I can answer that question.
Mhm.
So yes, students do have their phones during the day. We do ask that they hand them in during workshops, just for the opportunity to attentively listen to the facilitators that have volunteered their time to come and share their workshop information. So they do hand them in during workshops, and they hand them in before lights out at the end of the day. So they don't have their phones overnight unless they need an accommodation for something like white noise app. Or if they listen to music to fall asleep, then we can offer accommodations. But yes, they do have their phones during the day so that they can connect with their family and friends.
Thank you. And the next one is so they mentioned, is this camp similar to the Shad camp? That's
Mhm.
seems to be another STEM camp that's offered in Canada.
Yeah, that is another STEM camp. There's also Seed to STEM, and Seed to STEM and SHAD are quite similar. I think they're longer, and then they have a different program fee. Our program fee is $200, and our camp is from Sunday until Saturday. And we also have program bursaries available. I don't know a lot about SHAD, but I think like the science aspects are a little bit similar. But then, of course, summer science also integrates cultural teachings into camp. So we have like an overlap that is really important to the camp programming.
Thank you. And is the camp students available to neurodivergent students, more specifically youth with autism?
Absolutely, always, yes. So Auntie Rosie worked in public schools for 30 years, and she feels really passionate about supporting youth with neurodivergence or different learning needs, like learning disabilities. And we are able to also accommodate different learning needs as well. So we have like a support outline that we provide to all of the camp staff before camp begins, so that all of our camp staff are prepared to support other all of the youth with different learning needs. So yes, we are open to students that are autistic, that are ADHD, or any diverse learning needs.
Thanks. Next question is, do you accept youth from out of province?
Go ahead, Ella.
Yes, we absolutely do. Last year, we had applicants from the Yukon and the Northwest Territories and Alberta, so we definitely accept students who are outside our province.
Great. And is there a website or email where we can get information on the camps to share with our nation's leadership and education department?
Go ahead, Ella.
Oh, yes, we have. Feel free to email our email summer.science@ubc.ca for our, George, you said it was a postcard.
Mhm.
And we also have our website, which has all the information about our program. And yeah, you can feel free to send that around or get that postcard to just put in your band offices to share with any community members that might be interested in it.
Great, thank you. And another participant here does a summer camp at UBC Okanagan, and they're wondering if you like just how you structure the evening and overnight work for your staff, your student staff.
Um,
Kind of
is
more
that
so
make
for, yeah, it's more so just around like programming structure, vision, focus. And,
yeah, for the staff, like when it comes to supervision?
yeah, I believe so, yes.
Yes. So, as I mentioned, there we have more downtime at around 7:30. Last year, a lot of the students went for walks in the evening around campus, nearby the Vanier dorms, played basketball, played stick games in the dorms. And for staff, we do have supervision from 10 p.m. from lights out until 1 a.m. to ensure that all of the students are in their rooms, and safe back in the dorms. And then we have two staff that do those overnight rounds until 1 a.m. And then the staff typically wake up around 7 in the morning. I hope that answers the question. What the hours are for staff and what evening and overnight responsibilities. For the hours for staff, that's a really great question. So because staff stay in dorms with the students and are with the students when they're not on their breaks, they are essentially 24-hour days. That's not to say that there isn't downtime and that there isn't time to take a breath away from supervision of students and participating in the workshops. And but you're with the students at all times unless you're on a break. The breaks include one 24-hour break from 8 p.m. to 8 p.m. and three 3-hour breaks each week. So 6 3-hour breaks total over the 2 weeks, 3 of them each week.
Great. And our next question is, how many students do you currently intake per camp?
Ella?
I believe this year is it 25 or 35?
I think we'll probably do 28.
Okay,
In
28.
previous years, we've done 26, and we're trying to increase our capacity.
Great. That's awesome. And you mentioned that the youth arrive on Sunday and they leave on Saturday. So each camp is just a week long.
That's right. Yeah.
Cool. And what are the meals like? Is there snacks throughout the day? How do you accommodate dietary preferences or allergies and intolerances?
Ella planned our meals last year, so I will let Ella answer this question.
Yeah, so each of our dinners, except for grad, are made by the landed food coordinators, and they're typically like burritos, like pastas, those sort of foods. And for lunches, we typically have them catered. And these look like pastas. We had curries and paninis last year. And so there's a really great variety, and we are very accommodating to dietary needs. We get lists of those, and we ensure that everybody has something to eat with every single um, meal, and that their dietary restrictions are accommodated. Oh, yes, we did have West Coast Bannock last year. We do prioritize Indigenous caterers when we are looking at catering. Um, Last year, we had Bannock Queen Bakery for our grad dinner. And then, yeah, we had West Coast Bannock they had lovely sandwiches. Um, yeah, and we are also very accommodating to safe foods. So if you have certain safe foods, or you're just very, uh, you know what you like and you don't really like to go outside of that, we are very accommodating. We always have things like chicken strips, fries, like basic sandwiches on hand. So if you don't necessarily like what we're eating that day, we have other options for you as well.
Thank you. That's awesome. Sounds like a delicious summer camp. I bet so many kids love to try new foods too. Can non-Indigenous students work to help run this program?
Yes, that's probably a question about UBC students volunteering or applying to being staff. Um,
Mhm.
if anyone would like to clarify the question, please do so. But yes, we do also hire staff and volunteers that are not Indigenous. So it's not exclusive to only Indigenous student staff. Um, yeah.
Great. And I think we have just a few more questions here. Uh, One question was just to repeat potentially the what you mentioned earlier about um, the break structure for the students
Yeah.
and staff. Yeah.
Yeah, so the staff arrive on August 1st and support with setting up the longhouse for the students to arrive the next day. And the staff move into their dorm rooms at 3 p.m. on August 1st. Students arrive the next day starting around 12 noon. Um, and then during that first week, the staff will have three 3-hour breaks. And then the following week, three 3-hour breaks, so 6 total. And then they have one 24-hour period off in the 2 weeks. So 6 3-hour breaks and one 24-hour period off. And the contract period is from August 1st to 15th.
Cool. Thank you. And how many students usually apply to work with the summer science program?
Uh, I think last year we had about 90 applications and 28 each week. I think that's 56 if my math is mathing. Um, Ella's giving me a nod. Um, yeah, so I think we had about 90 student applications, 90 youth camper applications. So we did have a wait list, but that's not to say that the wait list doesn't move around. Sometimes it can be challenging for students to organize other extracurriculars that they're doing in the summer, or job opportunities that may come up for them, or travel may be challenging. So we do have our wait list open up throughout the summer. I think it's also positive that our camp is in the first 2 weeks of August because that also helps students plan the entirety of the summer. We piloted that last year because we received feedback from students that having the camp the week after they get out of their high school classes was challenging in planning, like their travel and applying to camp, because it happened so quickly after the school year ended. So yes, we had about 90 applications last year.
Cool. And with that, for staff applications, how many do you usually get with that?
For staff applications, we hire 8, and I think we have 10 at the moment. But we also offer volunteer opportunities. So there's lots of opportunities to spend time at camp, and build relationships with the students. We also have dorm rooms available for 1 or 2 volunteers, if a volunteer would need a place to stay.
Cool. And do do staff get hired for both weeks or 1 week only?
Yeah, both weeks. The contract period starts August 1st and ends August 15th. If we're able to put up the QR code for the careers page, we can also show um, the training days. So we have a volunteer and staff orientation day, and then we also have a staff debrief, and I believe they're on July 22nd and August 19th. So there are 2 days that the staff need to be in person for that as well. And then we also require all of the camp staff to have first aid training and complete a criminal record check by July 4th, because you need a criminal record check to work with youth and vulnerable adults.
And we just have that link in the chat here, so feel free to click that. Next question is, what what are the arrangements for students who are flying in and need pickup from the airport? And do they get picked up and dropped off, or what's the process with that?
Go ahead, Ella.
Yeah, so you indicate on your application or as soon as you have confirmation of your flight when, like what time your flight will be landing, as well as your flight number. So we as staff, we can see your flight and see if your flight's getting delayed so we know when to come pick you up. So a staff or two staff members will come and pick you up or a group of students up and from whichever terminal you're coming from or ferry terminal and they will drive you back to campus. And we will also have your flight information for when you are leaving from Vancouver or your ferry information for when you're leaving Vancouver. And we will have a staff ready to drive you to the airport so you arrive a couple hours early to your flight so you have enough time to check in and everything.
Cool. And if a student lives near UBC, could they opt out of staying in the dorms?
That is an excellent question. And I have had a question like that already. We did have one student in 2024 that lived nearby and didn't feel comfortable staying in dorms. But I think that would be kind of case by case. Like it could be something that we could discuss because it's really important to us to be able to offer accommodations so that summer science is accessible for everybody. Um, but if the person that asked that question, if they could send me an email, I would be happy to answer that.
Great. And we'll put her email in the chat. The next question is, how far in advance do the campers get notified so we can book flights?
Camper applications are due on June 15th. That's because our program assistant staff starts on May 1st, so we review all of the camper applications together. Students are notified of their acceptance or wait list that right after June 15th, so usually like between the 17th and 21st. And then they have that amount of time to plan their travel arrangements, whether that's like driving with other students that are coming from their community, their flight or their ferry. And then when they complete their acceptance information, we send a document that includes a blank spot for you to share what your flight information is, or your ferry information so that we know where and when to pick you up.
Cool. Thank you. Next question is, how do you support shy students in making connections with each other and staff? Has there been any issues of bullying between the students?
We have not experienced bullying, which I am very grateful for. That is really awesome. I feel like Auntie Rosie and Elder Bruce are wonderful observers. They do a really great job at including all of the students and ensuring they all feel supported. We also have an embedded counselor, Laura Ellison. She has well over 20 years of experience working with youth. We also, in your acceptance information, you can share with us more information about yourself. And we make an effort to pair students in a team that have like interests. So similar like social needs or similar interests in future career paths or education paths, so that there is already a foundation of connection when the students meet each other on Sunday.
Great. Awesome. And do the students have a lot of downtime? I know you mentioned kind of those 2 days that you listed. Approximately how much downtime do they have throughout the whole week?
So last year we had the schedule was very condensed. So we are incorporating more recreation time this year. I think each day it's about an hour of recreation time and then short half-hour breaks between workshops. So I can't add those together in my head. Maybe like 4 or 5 hours of rec time throughout the day. And then downtime from 7:30 to 10, where you can go for a walk, you can play basketball, we can play movies, we could do a talent show. That would be so much fun. We can play games in the longhouse or in the dorms. So there is some downtime, but we do also have lots of workshops and activities that students can do during recreation time.
Cool. Um, can you assist students in getting a reference letter or writing their applications, or are there any supports with that already put in place?
As for the reference letter, one thing that we did change this year is the opportunity to provide an oral reference instead of a written reference. So on the application, there is a blank spot to share the name, email, and phone number of whoever your referee is. And then the summer science team can call them and have a conversation with them. So I feel like that will help reduce barriers in getting a written reference letter. And as for support in filling out the application, yes, we are available for that anytime. You can email us anytime. And we also frequently do Zoom information sessions, which can be used as support to complete a student application.
That's awesome. And what is your qualification criteria and what are you looking for when reviewing applications?
Ella, do you feel comfortable answering that one?
I think so, yes. So in reviewing the application, I believe there are 4 or 5 questions, mainly to just help us get to know who you are, what your interests are, and really your interest in summer science. I feel like just hearing why you want to attend summer science is a really big part. Like, what are your motivations for wanting to be able to attend summer science? Um, we do look at interest in science, but it's not a requirement, as well as cultural connection and reconnection. So just why, like, what you're interested in the culture aspect of the program, whether it's connection or reconnection. Um, and am I missing anything, Georgia? No, yeah. So really just trying to get a grasp of who you are and why you want to attend UBC Summer Science specifically.
Cool. The next question is, what are the steps and processes when you get a participant who gets overwhelmed or overstimulated, either during a workshop or throughout the summer camp?
So the longhouse has a quiet space in the it's like down a hallway and there's like soft lamps. There's comfortable chairs in there, so students are welcome to go and spend time in that room whenever they like. Recreation time, like the downtime between workshops, can also be used to spend time in their dorm room if they need downtime there. And UBC campus is absolutely incredible for all of the natural spaces it has. Even the space right outside the longhouse, there's some huge, beautiful trees and lots of space to take a step away. And campers can take a step away from a workshop at any time that they need. So if there's a moment where they're feeling overstimulated, or overwhelmed by content from a workshop, for example, they can take a step away from that. And Laura, the embedded counselor, is also a wonderful resource for the campers to connect with her for any emotional mental health support that they may need as well. So she's there for all of the campers.
That's good to know. The next question is, it must be tough to have to pick some students over others. What sort of challenges or do you face when going through the applications?
Oh my goodness. It is very challenging. That is very true. So one thing that we encourage the students to do is to include as much information as possible in their long answer questions. Um, why they want to attend summer science, what their interests are inside and outside of school, what their future career plans are, and how they're connected to their culture. Because when we review applications as a team, we talk about the opportunity that summer science offers in relation to their answers to those questions. So for example, we have a medicine workshop. Students that are really interested in medicine, being able to participate in that workshop will be a really valuable experience in helping them decide if they want to attend UBC in the Faculty of Medicine in the future. It is very challenging. There were many hours last year where talking as a team, putting students on the wait list is a very difficult decision to make. Um, yeah, yeah. I wish I had a better answer for that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Um, what about sibling groups? Do you typically accept them together, or have you had siblings who've attended together? Yeah.
Yes, we did have two siblings attend together last year. We also tried to prioritize students that apply that are coming from one community or one nation, um, putting them together in the same week. So we can also accommodate students attending like a week that isn't like their grade. So for example, if a student that's currently in grade 9 is applying with other students that are currently in grades 10 and 11, we would put them together in week 1 instead of separating them in week 1 and week 2. So
Okay.
yes, we have
And
siblings
when you
attend
say
together. We have friends attend together all the time, which is so much fun.
that's great.
Yeah.
When you say the week, like for the grades, which grades go for each week, and do
Yeah.
you know when that will be?
Yeah, so week 1 is August 2nd to 8th, and it's for students that are currently in the 2026 wow, school year, are currently in grades 10 and 11. And week 2 is August 9th to 15th, and is for students that are currently in grades 8 and 9.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Um, Next question is, in the video, I see that the students go to the Vancouver Aquarium. Is that still being offered, and is there an additional fee needed for that?
So last year we did go to the aquarium. There is no fee associated with it. So summer science, in our budget, we have a budget for a field trip. This year, we're going to explore options in visiting the Musqueam Nation and possibly canning salmon, which was one of the recommendations in an activity to bring to camp, or making soapberry ice cream, or visiting the rec center on Musqueam land to learn more from Christy, who is a member of the Musqueam Nation. Um, so we may be looking at alternatives to the aquarium. And the reason for that is because of overwhelm and overstimulation. The aquarium in the summertime can be a very loud and overwhelming environment, which I found our team experienced was challenging for both campers and staff. So we're going to try something different this year and see how that goes. But the students do get to participate in a field trip. So they're not on UBC Vancouver campus the entire week. And there are other opportunities to see other things too.
With that, do you think it would be beneficial to have even a local Musqueam scientist or even local host nation scientists to help participate in any of that to talk about any environmental, um, yeah,
Yeah, that would be amazing if there's someone that is attending the webinar right now that has an interest in that. We would love to speak with you and maybe talk about ways that they could participate in camp. That would be awesome.
cool. Um, and this is kind of our last question here. What was your highlight, both of your highlights when you guys have attended the summer science throughout the years? You can either pick top three or whatnot, but yeah.
Go ahead, Ella.
Oh my gosh. Georgia, do you want to go first? I need a
Sure, I'll go
second to
first.
figure it out.
So in 2024, Auntie Rosie brought cedar strips and she taught us how to make cedar roses. And that was the first time that I had the opportunity to make a cedar rose. And I really liked the layout of that activity because everyone was helping each other make their cedar roses, and I was struggling with it. And one of the campers supported me in making my rose. And I wish I brought it today because I could hold it up and show everybody. So I think that is one of my highlights. I also just really enjoy spending time with everybody. I think it's really valuable to build the relationships with all of the campers, and play games with them and participate in the workshops. The staff do the workshop activities with the campers too. So the staff will build bridges together with them. The staff participate in the Métis jigging workshop and in all of the talking circles. So I really enjoy all the quality time that we spend together.
It's awesome. And the bridges are from what activity again? Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, so we welcome a PhD. I think he's currently a PhD student. His name is Danilo Carone, and he is in a civil engineering PhD study at the moment, and he builds bridges with the kids. And I will. This is one of our. Oh, I will have to turn off my blur. This is one of our bridges from 2025. The
That's so
team
cool.
decorated it, and it was so much fun.
Hmm.
Um, I think that my favorite part of camp last year, I don't believe we're doing it again this year, but we went on a tree walk, which was really fun. Even just walking to and from the tree walk, I got to connect with so many more youth that I hadn't spoken to yet. It was a really fun experience, even just walking there. But it was really fun, very scary because you're really high up in the trees. But it was really nice to be able to connect with the land and even walking through the garden. I feel like these students taught me things about the land that I didn't know. So it was a great opportunity to learn from the students because I feel like youth have so much to teach us. Um, and yeah, connecting with the land was really nice as well.
That's so cool. Sounds like it's a great opportunity not only for the students but the staff too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's so cool. Well, I hope whoever's tuning in that's a student at UBC definitely apply, or even a community member. And if you're also a student applying from anywhere who wants to do the camp, apply. This looks fun. I know I never had this, so we're gonna post the link here again, and the email if you need to contact Georgia or have any questions, or if you have any questions for Ella. Um, Here's also our website if you need to check out more information. Thank you
Thank you so
again. You guys
much.
did so great.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you,
much.
everybody.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I know we really appreciate you guys asking the questions and engaging with this topic. I know the Summer Science has been around for quite some time. I think it's one of our longest running programs here at the center, and it's always great to have new questions to incorporate that within the program, and then also just hearing how it's reflected with our staff here, like Georgia and Ella, and seeing how it's grown and whatnot. So thank you. And we look forward to seeing a lot of you probably at Summer Science in the upcoming summer here. Yeah, just before we end the webinar, we'd love to bring your attention to our next webinar. We have Dr. Marchand coming on, talking about One Heart at a Time, transforming cardiovascular care for remote Indigenous communities. That is on April 28th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. All of our webinars are free to sign up for on our website at learningscircle.ubc.ca. And our newsletter is also there, so if you want to stay up to date with all of our upcoming webinars, feel free to sign up. Thank you, Georgia. Thank you, Ella. We both hope you have a you have a great day. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Live and